What is going on, everyone? Lauren Sisler here with AL.com. We are heading into week 3 of the college football season. Hard to believe, week 1, week 2 in the books. Now it is on to week 3, and Auburn now 2-0 on the season, ranked number 22 now, and they're getting ready to head to Penn State. Also heading to Penn State, our good friend Tom Green, who is making the trip to the whiteout game. I'm curious to know, have you ever made the trip to Penn State before?
No. I'm not even sure I've ever been to Pennsylvania before. Might have been like when I was a little kid with my family, but no, I've never been to Pennsylvania. Been to other parts of the Northeast, but not there.
So obviously, this will be, I guess, your first reason and excuse to go to Penn State and experience the world of Penn State as it is. I went back in 2011 when Alabama played there. And of course that was when, before sort of things, the fall with Paterno and all those things happened, and we won't necessarily rehash those, but I will say that was an unbelievable environment. It was a whiteout game. And it was an incredible experience. So I'm excited for you to get to experience it. And I do think coming off, obviously, 2 wins for Auburn, and while obviously the opponents with Akron and then Alabama State being a shutout 62-0 this past weekend is nothing to get overly excited about and overly zealous about. But I think there's a lot of positive things that we can take from it, and certainly, some momentum that they can carry into week 3 of the season and what is going to be a very tough environment, and of course, a very strong Penn State team and opponent that they're going to go up against. So, first things first, we talk about that score, 62-0. The defense pitching a shutout, pretty impressive performance under the direction of new defensive coordinator Derek Mason. I just want to get your thoughts. We'll start there. What are your overall takeaways from how this defense performed in week 2 of the season?
Well, I think the defense has been very stellar through these first 2 weeks. Obviously, the level of competition hasn't been as high as it will be. 6 ranked teams remaining on Auburn's schedule, including 4 in the top 10. But, there's something to be said again for, just taking care of business. Auburn's defense, they felt a little disappointed after week 1 when they let Akron score 10 points in the fourth quarter. They thought they should have had that shutout. So they kind of came out and atoned for it this week against Alabama State. 11 tackles for loss for a second straight game, 2 sacks. Finally got a couple turnovers this time, which were missing in that week 1 game with a forced fumble on recovery, and then Roger McCreary's pick 6. So, the defense was, all over the place, kind of swarming and suffocating once again. Getting that 0 on the scoreboard, a few of the guys said that really provided the kind of confidence boost that they feel that they need heading into a challenge like Penn State next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, just the confidence boost and, that being, a big thing, I think that this Auburn team, has been looking for in, everything that they kind of went through with the changeover from, coaching staffs, buying into the culture, figuring out how this new thing is going to work under Coach Harsin, and all of us kind of on the outside looking in saying, okay, still a ton of question marks. How are these guys going to step up and perform? And, what is going to be like the signature? What is Harsin's signature? What's he going to do to come in and turn this program around and change things up? And obviously defensively haven't missed a beat. Also, special teams, another area that has been key for them, being able to capitalize on special teams, making significant contributions. 2 big momentum shifters there in the shutout against Alabama State. And, I think just Harsin placing a big emphasis on that. He kind of talked about it, and I think you might have mentioned it as well in one of your articles on AL.com, just about the percentages of how he wants special teams to contribute on throughout the game to be able to, swing the momentum and be able to give them a better chance to win, especially as we get down the road with a lot of these more tougher opponents.
Yeah, it's definitely an area that's really been an emphasis for him and his staff since they took over. The way he looks at it, if you have 170 total snaps between offense, defense, and special teams in a game, at least 30 of those are going to be on special teams. So why not try to create an advantage in those margins? So one of the things that Auburn's done is, you'll see a lot of their starters on special teams playing some sort of role. And you look at that game Saturday against Alabama State, that blocked field goal that Nehemiah Pritchett returned for a touchdown. 10 of the 11 guys on the field were starters. The 11th was J.J. Pegues, who's the backup on the two deep. So these are all, significant players for that defense that are finding ways to impact the game in another manner. And I think that's something that, Harsin and his staff have really harped on and, emphasized. And it's certainly paying major dividends. Like I said, they had that blocked field goal return for a touchdown, which – that was a huge momentum shifter. Not that Alabama State was really threatening in any, serious manner, but, they had a chance to get 3 points on the board there, and Auburn blocked that field goal and returned it for the touchdown the other way. Then the other one, they had a blocked punt late in the first half, or rather in the first quarter, that led to, 3 points for Auburn too. So, getting points created off of special teams play is going to be something that's really important for this team.
Yeah, and I think that alleviates some of the pressure that could be felt on the offensive side of the football, defensive side of the football. That kind of, to me, sort of levels the playing field, so to speak. And when you can pop off those big plays like that, those explosive plays, obviously those special teams plays make such a significant difference. And I just, I know in a game when, a lot of times people point to like, oh, we won on a field goal or we won on this or that or whatever. And, it might not be as exciting as lighting a team up for, 48 points. But at the end of the day, when you see a team that can shift the momentum so quickly and ripping off an 80-yard, kickoff return or whatever it may be, I just see a significant difference on the sidelines, and even just the quarterback having to manage that. And we know with Bo Nix and some of the pressures that we saw before and the pressures that he put on himself in, his first couple of years with that inexperience, special teams can play a huge role in helping to alleviate some of that pressure on him. And with that being said, obviously kind of going down the list offensively, I want to talk about the running backs and obviously the run game and the success they've had. 2 consecutive games of 100+ yards coming from Tank Bigsby and Jarquez Hunter. Just your thoughts on how impressive the run game has been for you, specifically behind Tank, who we knew would be good, but also Hunter, who has shown a lot of flashes to us as well.
Yeah, like you said, we kind of expected this from Tank Bigsby, kind of ho-hum from him. He hasn't been asked to do too much, but he's been very impressive to start the season with back-to-back 100-yard performances and really not carrying a whole, big workload, and, being able to kind of save him for when the games get real tough and real serious is going to be huge. But also just the emergence of Jarquez Hunter. This is a guy who signed with Auburn 2 days after National Signing Day in February. Heard through the offseason that, they thought that he might have been, one of the steals of the class. He was Mr. Football in the state of Mississippi last year. And he has done nothing but impress this season. Same for him, back-to-back 100-yard games to open his career, something he said he never thought he would have imagined. He set a program record with a 94-yard touchdown run there in the third quarter, kind of capping off what was just a deluge of points for Auburn in that third quarter when they put up 35 on the board and really put Alabama State away. And, through his first 2 games, he's averaging north of 15 yards per carry. We haven't seen an Auburn freshman have this kind of start to their career since Ontario McCaleb back in 2009. Jarquez Hunter is doing it on fewer carries too. He started the season as the number 3 guy, stepped up this past week with Sean Shivers out. So just being able to kind of develop that depth, which was a major question for Auburn in the backfield this whole offseason. His emergence has really just alleviated a lot of those concerns and proven that they've got a really potent 1-2 punch in that backfield, and really a 3-headed monster when Sean Shivers is back.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly, being able to establish the run game is very important. And again, can kind of play into the weapons that they have, and being able to establish that and get the ball down the field and set themselves up, in scoring position is going to be critical for them. And, I guess lastly, just a couple quick thoughts on going to Penn State with this team. Obviously, we've seen what Auburn's been able to do in the first 2 weeks and putting their opponents away. Of course, obviously not the elite talent that we're going to see this weekend, but what are kind of your quick expectations for this matchup against Penn State on Saturday?
we're really going to get to see what Auburn's made of now. They've had 2 weeks to kind of fine tune things and work through some things, which, is always good to have, especially when you have so much change from the offseason, the new coaching staff, new systems coming in. You get to get some of those kinks out early. But, Penn State, top 10 team, they've already been tested. They already, went on the road and beat Wisconsin. So this is a team that's going to be ready for, an SEC opponent. We heard Penn State's fans at the end of their game against Ball State the other night chanting, "We want Auburn." So, I really hope that this game is going to be as advertised. And, personally, I'm really looking forward to kind of experiencing that environment too with the whiteout.
Yeah, and not to mention we're coming off a season ago when, fans were almost obsolete in, that pandemic season. So getting to kind of capitalize on that and, be able to, this will be a big home game for them. And obviously the whiteouts always bring so much more energy. And I don't understand, like, it's just literally you put on, your white shirt or whatever it is that you have that's white, and suddenly it just changes the whole dynamic of the game. I know that obviously schools do different things for, whatever it is, whatever their team colors are. So will be interesting to see how things play out. That game 6:30 on ABC. So excited about that. Enjoy your trip. And of course, we'll be up to date from all your posts throughout the week on AL.com. Of course, follow Tom Green on social media as well. He'll have all the updates throughout the week from practice reports as well as press conferences. And it should be a fun one. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Tom. And we'll check in with you soon.